Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start today's story with a man who found out his late husband's family was throwing a massive engagement party at his own lake houses without inviting him. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. They used my property for a party and left me out. Big mistake. My husband, 39-year-old male, and I, 39-year-old male, were together for a decade and married for 7 years before he unexpectedly passed away last year. Losing him was devastating. And while we had a good marriage, his parents never really warmed up to me. I can't prove it, but I've always suspected it had something to do with the fact that he was bisexual. I think they wanted him to marry a woman, have the traditional kids and white picket fence life, and I was the guy who took that away. Regardless of how they felt about me, I was always polite and accommodating. I even let them use my 2 lake houses whenever they wanted. One had been in my family since before I was born. My parents bought it decades ago, and the other was purchased later by my brothers and me when the neighboring property went up for sale. The houses are side by side, making them perfect for large family gatherings. During our relationship, my husband's family used them for holidays, long weekends, and other events. It was never a problem because I was usually there too, enjoying the get-togethers. Recently, my husband's younger brother got engaged. I knew his family had a tradition of throwing big engagement parties for their kids. They never did one for my husband and me, but we didn't have a huge wedding ceremony, so maybe that's why. Still, I was on friendly terms with the youngest brother. We'd gone to sports games and concerts together, so I fully expected to be invited. Weeks went by without any mention of a party. When I finally asked my in-laws about it, they told me they weren't doing anything big. Fair enough, I thought, and I moved on. Then last Monday, I got a text from one of my neighbors at the lake asking if I'd be joining the family for the party. Confused, I replied that I hadn't heard about any party. Turns out the entire family had been at the lake houses all weekend celebrating the engagement. Guests, decorations, the works. At first, I shrugged it off. I figured maybe they just wanted to keep it intimate, though it did sting a little. Then later that night, the same neighbor texted again. Apparently, my mother-in-law had gotten drunk and admitted outright that I wasn't invited intentionally. That flipped the switch for me. I drove over an hour into town with the paperwork proving my brothers and I own the properties. I also brought the text message stating I wasn't invited. I went straight to the sheriff's office, explained the situation, and told them I wanted everyone off my property immediately. The sheriff and a couple of deputies escorted me to the houses. When we arrived, the sheriff walked in and announced to the party that the owner has requested everyone leave the property. That's when my in-laws lost it. Yelling, arguing, making a scene. They were both visibly drunk, and after refusing to calm down, the deputies arrested them for public intoxication right there in front of the guests. The youngest brother's furious with me, but interestingly, his fiancé's on my side. The rest of the siblings are split. Some think I was justified. Others say I could have handled it differently. The common refrain is that I was too extreme. But to me, it's simple. You don't get to use my property for a party, intentionally exclude me, and expect me to smile and take it. After the dust settled, I decided to make some changes. There's always been a hidden lockbox on the property with keys inside, so I hired the neighbor's husband to change all the locks on both houses, lock the garage doors, and disable the openers. I couldn't stick around to do it myself. I had to get home to my dog and cat. But I wasn't about to leave things as they were. Do I think I could have just let it go? Sure. But why should I? They've been using those lake houses for years on my dime, and this was how they chose to treat me after I lost my husband? They made it clear I wasn't family in their eyes, so now they don't get the perks of being treated like family. First, I'm really sorry for your loss. Grief is heavy enough without having to manage people who treat you like an outsider on top of it. What they did wasn't a faux pas, it was a deliberate exclusion using your property. You were well within your rights to end the party. The arrests are on them. Public intoxication and refusing a lawful request isn't your responsibility. And our second story, the Hawaiian shirt and the Karen disaster. When a family has 6 daughters and 1 son, that one son becomes the holy grail. That was us. I'm the oldest daughter. My dad spent his life dreaming of a namesake, And when my kid brother arrived, Dad looked at him like the last matching sock out of the dryer. Lose it, and your day just falls apart. The problem is, my brother, sweet, kind, is an idiot. Dad owned an LLC that manufactured licensed tuning parts and ran 2 auto repair shops. He sold one and saved the other for his golden boy. I grew up under lifts, sniffing gasoline, logging invoices, but when Dad had a heart attack and went on strict rest, guess who got put in charge? Yup, the prodigy. To keep us from skidding into a ditch, I took over the unglamorous stuff: books, payroll, taxes, vendors. The shiny chrome's fun, but the boring paperwork keeps the lights on. If there's one thing my brother understood even less than business, it was relationships. Enter Karen. Gold digger level, trip in heels and sue the sidewalk. If you drive a vintage, tastefully turboed Porsche 911 and post stories in front of a compressor wheel, guess who shows up sniffing for other people's money? Karen had a predatory sweet smile, a calendar full of self-care, and a talent for embedding her entire family into someone else's payroll. "Babe, my cousin's a motor god. Let's hire him as a tech," she purred before she'd even unpacked her cosmetics bag. "No problem," my brother said, because family sticks together. Cousin turned in a fake resume, confused torque specs with his birthday, and killed 2 differentials in a week. Fire him? Ha! Karen staged meltdowns that made our hydraulic jacks look pale. "If you fire him, I'm gone. I'll take your customers." "Which customers?" I asked. "The 2 friends you discounted past zero margin?" When Cousin crushed his fingers with his golden wrench and filed for workers' comp leave, Karen pivoted to the best electrician west of the Mississippi, her brother. "He'll do it cheaper and better." Better meant twisting aluminum to copper with bargain bin wire nuts, putting a hot leg where normal people put their brain, and dumping the whole shop on one circuit. Everything but maybe the bathroom fan. A week later, we caught a short. Only a dry chem extinguisher and a miracle saved us from an insurance bonfire. Then came Karen's marketing initiative. She bulk ordered premium rum from my aunt's distillery to hand out as a VIP gift, because nothing says trust our wrenching like unlabeled alcohol in an auto shop with a no liquor policy and security cameras. One client took a swig at home, nearly went blind, and a demand letter landed on our doorstep. We settled pre-litigation for big money. Painful, but cheaper than a cratered reputation and a state AG sniffing around. All this in 18 months. I was balancing the books like a tightrope without a net. We didn't tell Dad. Stents aren't bolts. Healing needs quiet. Mom guarded him like crystal. Then one day, exactly a year and a half into Karen's reign, Mom went grocery shopping. Dad escaped. He threw on his favorite Hawaiian shirt, fished out the keys to his beige 80s S-Class coupe, fired up that silky V8, and rolled out like an old colonel on recon. He parked in the spot painted "Owner Reserved." My brother usually used it. He was out picking up turbo gaskets. Spoiler, buying Karen a new iPhone. At the front desk sat a glamour girl, Karen's best friend, hired because people love friendly faces. Friendly on Instagram, sure. In reality, customers waited 40 minutes for invoices while she finished the reel. Karen stepped out for a smoke and a call, saw some old guy in her king's spot, and lost it. She sailed over like a cruiser. "Hey, move it. That's the owner's spot." "Kid, I've been the owner since your eyebrows were still fighting for symmetry," Dad said, climbing out. "You're rude, too." She accidentally shoulder-checked him, splashing orange soda down his shirt. "Now get out before I call the guys." Her desk friend hustled over, badge reading "Front Desk, Jess." "You can't be here, sir. Private property," she monotoned like a GPS with attitude. Dad, whose tact and patience divorced for irreconcilable differences in 1989, looked at the badge, then up, and roared so loud even the shop compressor paused. "Who in the hell hired you in my company?" Jess blinked. "Your son. And this lady's the owner's wife. So, sir, you need to—" "Whose wife?" Dad squinted. "Mine," Karen lifted her chin. "Boys, now," she waved toward the boys, "get this geezer out." Our senior tech, Sergio, wiped his hands and walked over. "Yes, boss?" "Escort these 2 off my property," Dad said. "All steel. If they try to come back, call 911. And you," he pointed to the badge, "are terminated, effective immediately." "You can't," Jess screeched. "Oh, he can. And there's cause," Sergio said, opening the door. "Ladies, outside." "You don't know who you're messing with." Karen tried to slide past, only to meet Vadim, another tech, already in the doorway, phone in hand. Ma'am, 911's one press away, he said, and I can pull up cameras. We have clear footage of you shoving him and dumping your drink on him. I'm the owner's wife, Karen tried again. As if on cue, my brother walked in. He saw Dad, turned sheet white and froze. Dad. Silence thickened like 10W40 on a January morning. That's your wife, son? Dad asked. My brother looked at Karen, then at Dad, then at the phones in the tech's hands and swallowed. We haven't filed paperwork. Good, because if you do, Dad jingled his keys, I'll sign this shop over to a dog rescue. They'd treat it better and wouldn't steal tools for their god of motors cousin. Karen detonated. You old... Quiet. Dad didn't raise his voice, but the whole lobby went cold. Sergio, walk them out. Vadim, stay on with 911 if needed. I'm leaving on my own, Karen snapped, then pivoted to my brother at the door. If you don't take my side right now, I will destroy you in court. I'll poach your clients. The ones left after your rum stunt, I said, because I just sprinted from my office when I heard the shouting. Everyone turned. Dad saw me, and for the first time that day, the anger in his eyes gave way to a warm flicker. Princess, perfect timing. Draft terminations. Jess, immediate for cause. Cousin, done by end of day. Electrician, document code violations and out. And pull the rum case file. I want every message with Aunt Moonshine. Do what he says, Karen barked at my brother. Then we'll sue them together. My brother stared at the floor. Karen, enough. Please leave. What? You betrayed me, she screeched into ultrasonic range. You said this business was yours, that your dad's a dinosaur, that we... There is no we, he said quietly. I screwed up. Karen lunged, but Sergio was already between them. Doors that way, ma'am. Don't make this a police report. We've had enough fire for one day. This isn't over. Karen pointed us like a bad opera conductor. You'll beg me to come back. We're more likely to beg the oiling system to hold steady pressure, Vadim muttered. Door, please. The door clicked, the room exhaled, and then the real show began. Sit, son, Dad said in a voice that makes tape measures retract themselves. This'll take a while. Dad, Quiet. Facts first. Who put Jess at the desk? I did. Who hired the electrician of the century? I did. But Karen, who bought the rum marketing from Karen's aunt? I did. Who signed the agreement? Me, Dad. Good. Here's what happens now. Effective immediately, your manager in training. Your sister's your backstop. Nothing gets your signature until she sees it. No relatives on payroll without a skills test and a probationary period. All parts purchases through authorized distributors only. Karen's blacklisted, so is her family. Clear? Yes, sir. His shoulders dropped. I'm sorry. Apologize to the customers in person, and you're going with Sergio to the fire marshal's office. Show them your dream wiring. If there's a single NEC violation, we bring in a licensed electrician to redo all of it. You'll pay out of your profit share. My profit share? You think it's coming out of my Hawaiian shirt? The tech's cracked smiles, tension bled off. I grabbed Dad a clean shirt from the office. Not Hawaiian, but dry. He changed and called the final chord. Team meeting in 10, then back to work. But first, he nodded at me, tell me everything. No sugarcoat. I laid out the folders, rum, fire, cousin, payroll. Guess who got initiative bonuses? And marketing, half of it content shoots. Dad listened like an old school judge. No interruptions. Every weighed more than a gavel. All right, here's the plan, he said at last. Rum, final settlement, but negotiate the penalties down for voluntary resolution. Fire, document, rewire, photos, certs, staffing, skills tests. Fail, you're gone. Objections? None. But our eyes applauded. That week felt like a special ops mission. We terminated the Karen relatives, brought in an outside auditor, and hung a new lobby policy. No gifts of alcohol ever. Dad reinforced my authority. Every decision got routed through accounting and a legal template. My brother worked harder than he ever had, pulling covers, changing oil, doing parts runs, while customers read receipts over his shoulder. He learned to spell accountability without flinching. Karen didn't go quietly. For a month, she called my brother, posted trash on social, and stopped by for personal items, staging little performances. You ruined our future. Karen, my brother said, finally with a spine, we never had a future. We had expenses. After the third show, he boxed her stuff and set it on the curb. She screamed everything from greedy old man to you owe me, jumped in her car, and vanished. We pulled orange soda off the menu. A year passed, the shop found its rhythm again, customers trusted us. We finally bought a new lift to replace the one motor god drove into scrap. My brother changed. He got competent, enrolled in classes, and heard the word responsibility without taking offense. And Dad healed up and reclaimed a cherished tradition, poking my brother at every family dinner. Son, remember that what's-her-name? Dad asks, all innocence. That very dumb... Dad, my brother groans, already laughing. Karen. See, the stints are working great. Memory's sharp. Thanks, Dad, my brother says, pouring him sweet tea, for showing up that day. And for firing Instagram front desk. My pleasure, Dad says, raising his glass. To clear roads. And no Karens on the shoulder. I wonder if Karen realizes that her best performance became a one-way ticket out of our story. Because if anyone tries to mess with their business again, they have weapons of mass destruction. Name is Dad. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.